What's going on, everyone? So, in the next week or so, we should see Damian Lillard get traded, more likely than not. Portland is really ramping up trade talks, and they want to get a deal done before training camp, which makes sense for Portland and all teams involved that would be a part of the trade, just because all those teams are going to want the rosters set going into training camp, right? So that way they know what their season and kind of can start game planning for the upcoming year. But wherever Damian Lillard ends up, whether it's Miami or somewhere else, it's probably going to be a multi-team deal, especially if it's Miami, with Tyler Hero going elsewhere. Nurk may end up being involved. You'll have several of Miami's young pieces. Do they end up going to Portland? Do they end up being converted into draft picks, and those draft picks go to Portland? Like, what's going to end up happening? But one thing we're really starting to see be consistent is that the Phoenix Suns really want a trade for Nurk, and it looks like the Portland Trailblazers really want Ayton, right? And to be honest, this may be one of the most easy deals, right? Like, even if it doesn't or isn't a part of a multi-team deal, a Nurk for Ayton swap does make a lot of sense for both sides. Now, the Phoenix Suns have to get something else besides Nurk, right? Because, look, you're not trading Ayton straight up for Nurk. But I think that these two will be the main package, right? It'll be, here's the straightforward center swap, and then here's another piece. Maybe it's Simons, maybe it's somebody else, right? But they'll probably get some other piece in that deal. I would be shocked if Phoenix just basically swaps Ayton for Nurk. So, that being said, though, from just the center position, it makes sense for both sides. Because now for Portland, you now have the dynamic duo of Scoot Henderson and DeAndre Ayton, two guys that could be a great combo and duo for the foreseeable future. Both are extremely young. You'd have them for the next, 7 to 10 years. You'd be in great shape. You'd still have, Sharp and Jeremy Grant and Murray and Knox and, Little. Or does Little end up going as part of the deal, right? Because you're going to have to give up something else. But the point being is that you have basically a great young core with a 2010 center. And if Scoot Henderson is anything close to what he's projected to be, then you probably have like a 25-5-5 guy at least, right? So you're in great shape if you're Portland. And then from Phoenix is all in at this point. Ayton is and has been a locker room issue. He's a guy that has complained about getting attempts, and that was when Chris Paul and Devin Booker were the only players alongside him. How is he going to feel when he's now lined up with Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker? Like, you don't think he's going to be complaining about his attempts then? Of course he is. And I know Frank Vogel has said that, he likes Ayton and he really believes that he can get the most out of Ayton and yada, yada, yada. Like, what is he supposed to say? Ayton's trash and, why would I give him the ball when I have Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal? Right? Like, he's the fourth person I'm going to give the ball. Like, what is he supposed to say? Especially when he knows the way that Ayton was with Monty Williams. Like, he's not, come on. Like, it's not that complicated. Now, does that mean that Vogel doesn't like the skill set Ayton has? No, right? Ayton's a very good player, right? Like, Frank Vogel, if he was his second option or whatever, probably would turn Ayton into this star or whatever, right? Because he's done an amazing job with big men. But again, he's not giving the ball to Ayton over Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant. Like, you're not going to say, okay, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, you guys are only going to get 12 shot attempts per game because we need to get Ayton 15, or we need to give him his 12, or what. No, you're not doing that. You're giving the ball to your best players, and you're letting them go to work. And Ayton becomes the afterthought. So to go and trade him and unload him and avoid the headache and locker room issue and him clashing with the head coach and, him crying about not getting touches and him being a bit of a liability on the defensive side and just causing all this chaos for the Phoenix Suns. You get rid of him now. You let him go be Portland's problem, which I wouldn't be shocked if Ayton actually isn't a problem for Portland, because he's probably going to be the second guy. Again, it's just going to be him and Scoot Henderson, right? So you're talking about him getting the touches and being one of the main guys, if not the main guy on the team, right? Like, it's going to be a completely different environment, a completely different atmosphere for him. Everything that he wants, he's going to get in Portland. And for the Phoenix Suns, you get Nurk, who is a better playmaker as a big man. You can literally run your offense through him if need be. He's a better defensive big man. He's got good size, good physicality. He is injury prone. That's a concern, right? But so is basically everyone else that's good on the Phoenix Suns. So, you can't plan for that. Nurk would be a better fit, a better complement. He's not going to be a guy that's going to demand, 15 to 20 touches a game. He's a guy that, he's okay with getting his 8 to 9 attempts. If he gets less than that a game, he's not going to throw a tantrum and a hissy fit. He just wants to win. He's going to play the game the right way. He's going to play both sides of the basketball. He's going to rebound for you. Like I said, with Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant, you can actually just dump the ball down to Nurk and allow him to make plays and kind of run him as like a poor man Jokic, right? Like, it's better all around for the Phoenix Suns to go and get Nurk. But again, you have to get more than just Nurk. If the Phoenix Suns just go get Nurk, look, it would be a money saver, but Matt Espia, he hasn't cared about that. This dude has went and immediately just go get everything and let's go all in. Push our chips to the table. The guy's worth like $6-7 billion. Like, he wants to win. He wants to bring a championship to Phoenix. They've never won. Like, he wants to do that. That's why he went and got Kevin Durant. He ain't worried about a heavy payroll and being strapped. They've traded all their draft picks. I mean, they've basically gutted everything. They are as all in as it gets right now. Like, they don't own a draft pick for like 10 years or whatever. Because all their picks either go to other teams like the Brooklyn Nets, or the other years are swaps. Like, they have like no control over any of their picks. So they're not worried about saving money right now, because you can't worry about that. You're all in. You pushed your chips to the table. And so if you can go get a guy in Nurk and then also get like a Little or something like that, can you convince them to give you Simon? Right? Especially, like, what if you can convince them, like, hey, we'll do a 3-team deal with Miami. Give us Simons. You get Tyler Hero. Right? And then we'll give you Ayton. And then give us Simons and Nurk. Right? And you do something like that. Or maybe the Phoenix Suns can figure out a way to get Tyler Hero. I don't really see that happening. But you never know, right? I mean, it doesn't seem like the Blazers really are interested in Tyler Hero. So, but maybe if they're willing to trade and get Ayton, and now you have Scoot, Hero, and Ayton as your basically big three going forward, maybe they'd be more willing to trade Simon, right? So, especially if they don't have to give up picks or anything like that to go get Ayton. You just do Simon and Nurk for Ayton. There you go. And now, if you're the Phoenix Suns, you got a spark plug off the bench that can light it up, right? And give you some stability in the backup role. If Bradley Beal or Devin Booker need a night off, he can easily fill in and go get buckets, right? Like, I think that's a good approach for the Phoenix Suns. I think it makes sense for them to look and maybe potentially even push to go get Nurk. I think it makes sense for both sides. I think it makes even more sense for Phoenix, right? Because, again, you get rid of the headache before it becomes a headache. And for those that are saying, I don't think it'll be a headache, it was the last 2 years, and it got Monty Williams fired. Like, for what? Like, why? Like, the guy led you to an NBA Finals. the players seemed to love him outside of Ayton. He clashed with Ayton. That was it. They basically chose Ayton over Williams. Right? I'm not saying Monty Williams is the greatest coach ever or anything like that, but it wasn't like he was doing a terrible job. And you got Frank Vogel, which I don't know how much better of a move that is, if it even is a better move. And this is coming from a guy that Frank Vogel won a championship with the Lakers. Right? Like, I'm thankful for Frank Vogel, but Jason Kidd was also a huge part of that. Huge part of that. He was the player guy. He was the player coach. Frank Vogel was very passive, non-confrontational, right? Got bullied a lot. I'm a Laker fan. I heard all the reports. I remember the ride. Remember the journey and the conversations, right? And then, like, him and Russ and all that. Like, what's going to happen with him and Ayton when Ayton starts trying to puff his chest and stuff? I just get rid of the problem before it becomes a problem. If you're Phoenix, you're probably, on paper, you're the best team in the league. You know, if we gave NBA championships based on paper, Phoenix, give it to them now. So, you know, I think it's a win-win for everybody. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you like this trade regardless? Even if it's not part of the Dame trade? Let me know down in the comments.